If you want to know how a man really feels about you, don't listen to what he says before sex. Watch what he does after. That moment, right after the high fade, when the room is quiet and there's nothing left to prove, that's when his truth shows up. Because men can fake charm, confidence, even connection, but they can't fake what happens when the performance ends. There's something raw and revealing about the moments right after sex. It's like the mask comes off, and whatever he's been trying to control or hide in his behavior suddenly slips through. That's because in that moment his body is relaxed, his mind is quiet, and his emotional defenses, the ones he puts up all day to protect himself, are lowered. So what he does after tells you a truth that's hard to fake. When a man isn't truly emotionally connected, you'll feel a shift immediately. He might pull away, turn over, get distant, or suddenly act like he's got somewhere else to be. He may not even realize he's doing it, but his actions speak louder than any words he could say. On the other hand, if a man is hooked, emotionally invested, genuinely attracted, not just to your body, but to you, you'll see that in how present he is after. He'll want to stay close, even if he's not saying much. He won't rush out of bed like he's escaping something. He'll touch your skin, play with your hair, maybe even laugh softly with you. Those tiny gestures are the giveaway. They're not scripted. They're not strategic. They come from a place of comfort and connection that can't be manufactured in the moment. A lot of women confuse attention during sex with emotional attachment, but that's the performance part. The real truth reveals itself after the high fades and he's just there with you, with no more show to put on. His ability to stay emotionally connected, to be soft, still, and present in those quiet minutes, that's where you find out how he really feels. You see, men are taught to be strong, to lead, to stay in control. But after sex, that control loosens. He's not thinking about appearances, he's not running game, he's just being. And that's where you catch the truth. Some men will fake deep words in the heat of the moment, but the body doesn't lie. If he's distant, restless, or suddenly cold, that's not nerves. That's disconnection. If he's still close, still gentle, still invested in the energy between you even when the act is over, that's attachment. That's not lust. That's emotional gravity pulling him in, whether he realizes it or not. The quiet after sex is like a mirror. It reflects what he's really feeling. And when a man is hooked, that reflection is warmth, not withdrawal. It's attention, not avoidance. And you'll know it, not by what he says, but by what he can't help but do. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone, and while people love to say it mostly affects women, that's not the full story. Men feel it too, just differently. After sex, when the high of climax has passed, the body releases oxytocin, and in that moment, a man's actions become more honest than he might even intend. He's not thinking about what looks cool or detached. He's not strategizing how to protect his ego. His brain is flooded with chemistry that encourages closeness, safety, and even trust. And if he's emotionally invested in you, this hormonal shift will amplify those feelings. It pulls him toward you, not just physically, but emotionally, and you'll feel it. A man who's truly into you won't be able to fake disinterest when oxytocin hits. He'll want to stay wrapped up in you. He might talk more softly, smile in a way that feels relaxed and unguarded, or even say something unexpectedly vulnerable. That's because oxytocin opens the door to intimacy, not just sex, but emotional closeness. He might not even know why he's feeling what he's feeling, but his body does. You can often see it in how his face softens, how he slows down, how he stays in the moment instead of reaching for distraction. If he's emotionally attached, this hormone enhances that bond. If he's not, It doesn't do much, and his behavior will reflect that. He'll seem distant, disinterested, like he's quickly coming down from something he never intended to stay in. That's the thing about chemistry. It can't be faked. A man can say all the right things before sex, and even during it. He can look into your eyes, hold you tight, and make promises in the dark. But what he does after his body relaxes, when the oxytocin is running through his system, that's when you'll know what's real. If he pulls you close, doesn't rush away, and seems to genuinely enjoy just being with you, that's not just a random mood. That's biology lining up with emotion, and men don't manufacture that. They don't sit and plan to act like they care once it's over. It either happens or it doesn't. The trick is to pay attention in those quiet, unscripted minutes. Don't fill the space with your own hopes or explanations. Just watch. His body will speak for him, and oxytocin will reveal the truth he may not say out loud. Because while words can be controlled and actions can be rehearsed, chemistry, the kind that bonds, the kind that makes a man feel close long after the act, always tells the truth. After the physical part of sex is over, there's a moment that becomes emotionally louder than anything that just happened. It's the quiet afterward. And how a man responds in that stillness says more than any passionate gesture during the act. If he stays close, if he reaches out to hold you, touches your face gently, or even just rests his hand on you without a word, that's not instinct, that's emotion. Men don't go out of their way to seek closeness unless it means something. Because the truth is, for a lot of men, sex is the easy part. It's where they feel in control. But closeness, the real kind that comes after, requires something deeper. It requires care, vulnerability, and a willingness to stay emotionally naked, not just physically. You can tell a man is hooked, not by how intense he is during sex, but by how he stays with you after. Not just in proximity, but in presence. Does he stay engaged with your body, your voice, your energy? Does he look at you in a way that's soft, like he's still taking you in? Or does he check out the second it's over, like he's crossed the finish line and now he's done? That one moment tells you if he's connected to you or just chasing a feeling. And when a man is emotionally invested, the act of sex doesn't signal an end, it deepens his desire to stay connected. That's why it matters so much if he holds you close afterward. That gesture might seem small, but it's actually huge. It means he isn't just satisfied, he's comfortable. He wants you in his arms, not because of lust, but because it feels like home. And that's a level of intimacy most men don't fake. Because in that moment his guard is down. He's not performing, he's not trying to impress you anymore, he's just being. So, if he wraps his arm around you, pulls you in, or just keeps his body near yours like it's second nature, that's where the truth lives. That's not a move, that's emotion. You'll also notice it in the way he communicates in that space. If he talks, it won't be empty. It'll be warm, reflective, or even a little silly and unfiltered. He might open up or ask you questions that show he's curious about more than your body. Or he might not say anything, but his body language keeps you close. That's when you know he's not pulling away, not emotionally or physically. He's leaning in. And men don't lean in like that unless they're starting to feel something real. That closeness after the climax isn't about etiquette or politeness, it's about connection. And when a man is hooked, he can't help but show it with how close he stays, how gently he touches, and how deeply he lets himself be seen in that still, quiet space. When a man is emotionally invested, one of the clearest signs is his willingness to stay present after sex. That moment when everything slows down, when the rush fades and it's just the two of you. How he shows up in that space reveals everything. A man who cares will not be in a hurry to escape. He won't be itching to check his phone, flip on the TV, or mentally drift off into his own world. Instead, he stays in the room with you, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. It's not just about how long he stays, it's about how deeply he stays with you in that moment. His attention doesn't scatter, it focuses. That presence speaks louder than any sweet words he might have whispered before or during the act. There's something intimate about the silence after sex. For a lot of men, that space can feel vulnerable, and vulnerability is something many have been taught to avoid. But a man who's emotionally connected doesn't avoid it, he leans into it. He doesn't need noise or distraction to mask the intimacy that just happened. He lets it settle. He allows himself to sit in the gravity of the moment. That's when you see the difference between a man who was just in it for the experience and a man who was in it for you. Presence doesn't require grand romantic gestures. It's in the small things. The way he looks at you without rushing to fill the silence. The way he listens if you speak. Or simply the way he breathes with ease beside you because being near you feels natural. If he's emotionally distant, you'll feel the shift quickly. He might turn over, reach for something, or subtly change his energy, like he's trying to move on already. But a man who's truly into you, he'll stay in the moment, even after the moment's passed. His energy won't rush away from you. He won't seem like he's already somewhere else. He'll keep his focus on you, not because he's trying to prove anything, but because that's where he genuinely wants to be. You'll notice he's comfortable in the connection, not trying to get out of it. And that's something you can't really fake. It either flows naturally or it doesn't. You'll feel whether his attention is still resting with you or whether it slipped away the second the act was over. Presence is powerful because it shows you that what just happened wasn't just physical for him. It meant something. It felt safe, warm, real. A man who's hooked doesn't need to escape the moment. He stays in it. He welcomes it. He may not always have the perfect words to explain what he's feeling, but you won't need them, because when a man is emotionally present after sex, his stillness, his calm, his focus, all of it tells you the truth more clearly than words ever could. When it comes to understanding how a man truly feels about you, one of the strongest signs is his consistency after intimacy. Anyone can show affection once, anyone can say the right thing in the heat of the moment, but it's what he does every time that reveals who he really is. If after every intimate moment he naturally reaches for you, stays engaged, holds you close, and remains emotionally present, that's not a performance, that's a pattern. And patterns don't lie, they come from habit, from instinct, from emotion that's rooted, not rehearsed. When a man cares, he doesn't have to think twice about showing up the same way again and again. He doesn't pull away one night and cuddle the next. He doesn't disappear after sex today and then act romantic tomorrow. There's a rhythm in how he treats you, and that rhythm reflects his emotional truth. When you experience that kind of consistency, it builds something even more powerful than attraction. It builds trust. Because trust isn't created by grand gestures or intense declarations. It's created by repeated proof that you're safe with him emotionally, that you can open up, be vulnerable, and not worry that he'll suddenly change the moment the physical connection ended. So when a man consistently stays close, holds you afterward, engages with you like you matter, that's a signal he's emotionally invested, not just physically interested. And that's not something he can just decide to fake over time, because if his heart isn't in it, he won't maintain that consistency. He might show affection once to keep you close, but it won't last. He'll feel forced. He'll forget to repeat it. He'll drift. But when he's genuinely into you, consistency is natural, it's effortless, it's just how he's wired to respond to you. You'll also notice that consistency brings a sense of emotional safety. You won't be left wondering what version of him you're going to get next time. You won't question whether tonight is going to be distant or loving, because you'll already know, based on the way he's shown up again and again. That kind of predictability might not sound romantic at first, but in reality it's the most intimate thing of all. It tells you that his behavior isn't based on mood, convenience, or some hidden agenda. It's rooted in something real. And once you start to see that, you stop needing to ask for reassurance, because his actions give you that without words. That's what separates someone who's hooked from someone who's just passing through. When a man's actions after sex are steady, warm, and reliable, it shows he's not just reacting to the moment. He's building something. And that kind of consistency isn't something you have to chase. It's something that shows up on its own, because his feelings aren't changing with the weather. They're growing, settling, becoming part of something deeper. Vulnerability is one of the hardest things for most men to express, especially after sex. That's because society often teaches them to be strong, controlled, and emotionally guarded. But there's something about those quiet moments after intimacy that strip away the layers. If a man is emotionally connected to you, you'll see it in the way he opens up when the world is silent and his guard is down. He might start talking about something personal, something he normally wouldn't share. Maybe it's a childhood memory, a fear, a dream he hasn't told anyone, or even something about the way he feels around you that catches you off guard. That kind of emotional honesty doesn't just happen. It's not scripted, it's not a line. It comes out because being close to you makes him feel safe enough to let a part of himself be seen that he usually keeps hidden. Men don't fake vulnerability easily, not because they're incapable, but because it requires a sense of trust they don't give lightly. So when a man starts to speak from that place after sex, it's not random. It means the emotional experience is touching something deeper inside him, and that can't be forced. It's not about him saying something romantic just because the moment feels intimate. It's about him allowing a part of himself to show that he usually protects. That's the sign he's not just physically into you, he's emotionally affected. Because vulnerability is risky, it puts ego aside, it invites rejection, and no man risks that unless what he feels is real enough to override his fear. You'll know it's genuine because it doesn't come out perfectly. Vulnerability isn't polished or smooth. It's awkward sometimes. It's hesitant. It sounds like someone thinking out loud, unsure if they should be saying what they're saying, but needing to anyway. That's what makes it so raw. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice the shift in his energy when it happens. He's no longer performing, he's revealing. And that kind of honesty only happens when a man feels something for you that goes beyond the surface. When he opens up in those post-sex moments, it's not just about comfort, it's about emotional connection deepening in real time. He's not trying to impress you, he's just showing you who he is. That's when you know you're not just someone he desires, but someone he trusts, and trust is the foundation of everything lasting. So if he starts to share, if he lets his words stumble into something real, something unfiltered, something vulnerable, pay attention. That's not a performance. That's a reflection of how safe and emotionally drawn he feels toward you. And for a man, showing that side isn't something he does often, which means if he's doing it with you, it's because you matter in a way he can't pretend. So here's the truth. A man's real feelings don't show up in what he says before sex, or even during it. They show up in what he does after. That's the moment when the performance ends, the hormones settle, and the emotional mask starts to slip. If he stays close, if he reaches for you, if he's present in the silence, if he shows consistency, if he opens up without trying, that's when you know he's hooked. Because men can fake charm, they can fake desire, and they can even fake interest. But they can't fake emotional safety. They can't fake that pull to stay near you when there's nothing left to gain. So don't chase the words he says in the heat of passion. Watch the way he breathes when it's quiet. Watch how he holds you when no one's watching. That's where the truth lives. That's where you'll find out exactly how much you mean to him. Not in the act itself, but in what follows. Always remember, a man's heart doesn't speak loud, it speaks honest. And if you're listening in those quiet moments after, you'll hear everything.